SuperTalk Mississippi media production.
If you're feeling anxious about your investments with all the economic volatility and chaos in Washington, tune in to SuperTalk Jackson on Wednesdays from 9 to 10 a.m. and Sundays from 8:30 to 9:30 a.m. for Element Wealth Radio with Jeremy Nelson. Learn more at myelementwealth.com.
Pike County, here comes your morning show. Dave in the morning on 93.5 FM, SuperTalk Mississippi.
So now, understand, you're not going to dictate to me what I do and what I don't do, but I'm still the mayor, Mr. Brown.
None of this meeting is recorded. None by any parties. Correct?
No, sir, mine is recorded. I'm being accused.
Any contact.
Said I want to make it on record. I want the allegations in writing, or the accused, or on recording of this harassment.
And now, here's your host, Dave Hughes.
It's a Wednesday. It's definitely the day after a Tuesday. In this case, though, it's the day after an election. And we still have one race we're waiting to hear the final details on. We'll get to that in a second. Well, two if you count the runoff in the mayor's race we've got coming. We'll talk about that in just a bit. Couple of things. Well, one thing in particular I want to make sure we deal with right up front. And that is the weather. It could get loud later today. 80% chance of rain today, 90% chance tonight. Today and tonight added up, we could get up to an inch of rain. It's going to be moist. 50% chance of rain tomorrow, 30% tomorrow night. By Friday, we'll still be at a 70% chance of rain, 50% Friday night, 50% Saturday, 50% Saturday night. You get the idea. We'll have a chance of rain Sunday, Monday night, things will finally clear out. They've expanded that a little bit. It was going to clear out Friday night. No longer. Going to be wet the entire weekend. So brace up for that. The one thing it's going to do, though, is give us another little break in the temperature. High today, 85. High tomorrow, 78. High Friday, 75. Doesn't sound like much, but you'll notice. There is the slimmest of chances that we could have some bad weather today or tomorrow. On a 1 to 5 scale, on the 1 to 5 scale that they use to judge severe weather risk, we are, well, hovering between 1 and 2, depending on which part of the county you're talking about. Still, we're at the lower part. The worst of this weather looks like it's going to pass through up at Jackson and north of there, which means we can sit here, we can get our lawns watered and watch everything else happen. Hopefully. That is the plan right now. We'll wait and see. But I wanted to deal with that right up front. Now, yesterday we had the election. I have to say, not that bad of a turnout. Not that bad of a turnout at all, especially for a primary. Because that's what, 1,115, about 1,600 people. It's not bad. Could be better, but it's not bad. The results, the big one, is incumbent Mayor Cordelia Lockley and current Ward 5 Selectman Bruce Mullins are headed to a runoff in 2 weeks. Bruce Mullins got 648 votes. Cordelia Lockley got 520. Third place was David Myers with 441. Trishelle Veal with 52. That was the totals in the mayor's race. Lockley and Mullins headed to a runoff. Be interesting to see how they interact at the board meeting next week, won't it? That was my first thought when I saw this result. I was like, okay, that'll be interesting. I saw some confusion, saw some people not understanding why there would be a runoff. I hate to be this way, but that's part of our problem with our elections and how things are going in society right now. I even said it yesterday. Unless a candidate gets 50% plus one or more votes of all of the vote cast, you have to have a runoff. It's always been that way. That's nothing new. That's not a new rule that was just jammed in sideways. No. If you don't get 50% plus one vote, you have to have a runoff. And 648 is not 50% of 1,600. So you get to have a runoff. And I say that we do have apparently the totals from the absentee ballots. The affidavit ballots haven't been counted yet. There are 45 of those across the city. The affidavit ballots will be counted today. Where that's going to make a difference, and that, by the way, brings the total in the mayoral race to 676 for Mullins, 547 for Lockley, 458 for Myers, and 56 for Veal. So those totals went up a little bit overnight as they got the absentee ballots counted. Now, after the absentee ballots have been counted, Shawn Thompson, leading incumbent select woman at large Tabitha Felder Isaac, 877 to 844. So 33 votes. It's 45 affidavit ballots. And the way you have to look at that, I feel silly explaining this, but I just had to explain why you have a runoff, so we're going to cover all the bases. If it's unlikely, but if all 45 of the affidavit ballots are for Tabitha Felder Isaac, she wins by like 10, 12. We've got a chance here of this being a razor-thin race once the affidavit ballots are counted. Because Thompson's leading Isaac by 33 votes. It's 45 affidavit ballots. Decent chance not all of those affidavit ballots will count. Affidavit ballot is when you show up and your name's not in the poll book, but you demand your right to vote. Okay, fine. They let you do it. Then they have to go back and check and make sure that A, you are registered to vote, and B, you do actually live in the ward you were voting in. So affidavit ballots can be thrown out if it doesn't match up. They've got no record of you when you show up. You're not in my book, but I want to vote. Okay, fill this out. Doesn't mean they will all be counted. But if we get 33 of them going for Isaac, it's a tie, which leaves 12 votes difference. Not saying that's going to happen. They could all go for Thompson, for that matter. We don't know. That's going to be interesting to watch today to see how that sorts out. I would suspect there will be a recount on that one. Just because when you wind up that close, yeah, you want to. So 1,700 ballots cast, 1,800 really, 877 and 844 and 45. You add those three together. So that's what, 1,780 something, I think? 90 something? That's how many ballots were cast. The affidavits will be counted today. We will find out. In Ward 3, incumbent Terry Waterman Baylor defeated former Selectman Devontae Johnson 191 to 133. Noticing a trend there, by the way. You remember when I was referring to him as Mr. 126. Well, now he's Mr. 133. Technically, that's an improvement, but ran up against a buzzsaw in Terry Waterman Baylor, and the people of Ward 3 apparently feel like she's been doing a good job. So that's the result there. In Ward 4, Sean Williams, who was the selectman last administration from Ward 4, 182 to 129, the winner over incumbent selectman Eddie Thompson. Not enough affidavit ballots there to change it. If you got 45 affidavit ballots across the city, that's going to take you within 10 if you get all of them, and it doesn't matter. So Sean Williams will be the Ward 4 selectman. And in Ward 5, Kizzy County defeated longtime former selectman Ronnie Brock 190 to 146. Again, not enough affidavit ballots in Ward 5 to change the results. Because you got to remember, those 45 affidavit ballots are across the entire city. Not all 45 are in one particular ward. Because if you had 45 affidavit ballots, that would give former Selectman Brock a chance to pull ahead by one. But they're not all there. There aren't enough in Ward 5. That one is over. Kizzy County will be your Ward 5 select person, taking the place of Bruce Mullins, whether he wins or loses in his runoff with incumbent two-term mayor Cordelia Lockley. The fun just continues. So the way it shapes up right now, after running through all the numbers and explaining all the scenarios, we have Mullins and Lockley in a runoff in 2 weeks, which will elect the next mayor of McComb. That's your mayoral race. Select woman at large, we don't know yet. Sean Thompson ahead by 33 votes. They got 45 affidavit ballots to count, so we're going to have to wait until they get done with that whole process before we'll know for certain on select woman at large. Thompson ahead by 33 votes with the absentees counted. Ward 1 selectman race, well, Ward 1 selectman Tommy McKenzie was unopposed. He's back in. Ward 2 selectman race, got one Democrat, one Republican, the incumbent, Matt Cotting. That will happen in the general election. One of the rare things that's actually going to be decided in the general election, not in this primary. Ward 3, Terry Waterman Baylor will return for a second term as select woman. In Ward 4, Selectman Sean Williams comes back to take that seat. And in Ward 5, the new select person will be Kizzy County. That's how the board is shaping up so far with what we know. Now, I want to get out in front of something before this happens, because I said we'll have a runoff in 2 weeks. The only thing on the ballot will be for mayor, which means all 5 wards will vote. That's going to be the only thing on there. There's not a possibility of a runoff. We don't have more than 2 candidates really in anything else. So that runoff between incumbent Mayor Cordelia Lockley and current Ward 5 selectman Bruce Mullins in 2 weeks. Because we had so much confusion about whether or not you could vote in the primary yesterday, the Democratic primary, and then vote for whoever you wanted to in the general election, let's clear this up right now. There was no Republican primary. Here's how this works. If you voted in the Republican primary yesterday, you can't vote in the Democratic primary runoff. Since there wasn't one, that one condition that would keep you from voting in the runoff, it's gone. If you voted in the Democratic primary yesterday, you definitely get to vote in the runoff in 2 weeks. If you didn't vote at all, you just didn't show up, and there's about 9,000 some odd people in the city of McComb who did not vote yesterday. Population of McComb is around 11,000. We had about 1,800 people show up. About a 10% turnout. It's sad, a little over 10%. It's sad that I'm bragging about that as a good turnout. Really, it's not. I'm just trying to keep a positive attitude about things. So 85% of the population of McComb didn't show up at the polls. Which means there may be some people didn't vote yesterday, want to vote in 2 weeks. Okay. The only way you can be knocked out of voting in an election is in the primary season. If you voted in the other primary, well, you're locked into that ticket choice. If you did not cast a ballot yesterday, you can vote in 2 weeks. Just try, we just had the whole thing about whether or not you could vote in the Democratic primary and whether or not it would be a good idea, and maybe you just better stay home and be quiet and keep your mouth shut and don't get involved so that you can cast a vote in June where it won't matter almost, except for Ward 2. Ward 2, it will matter, but by then that's the general election and it no longer matters how you voted in the primary. It's a moot point. You go to the polls and you look at the names on your ballot and you mark the one you want. That's the way it works. So I just know that now over the next 2 weeks we're going to start the whole thing about, well, you can't vote in the runoff because reasons. That, by the way, you may think if anybody started that rumor and was spreading that rumor intentionally about not being able to vote in the general election if you voted in the Democratic primary, if you spread that on purpose and thought it was a sharp move, well, big if, honestly, obviously, if someone concocted that and spread it on purpose, well, the nicest thing I can say is you're now officially a certified liar. Because it's not true. That's never been true, ever. So you are perfectly fine with lying to people to try to get an advantage in an election. Spend a few extra seconds looking in the mirror next time you get a chance. See if you can find something to be proud of in there. Win honestly or stay home. My thought. Have no idea. I just know the rumor was spreading, and it's been spreading for the past couple of weeks. No idea where it came from, or it could have just spontaneously popped up. But either way, I'm reminded of the old expression, you can either dazzle them with brilliance or baffle them with stuff. We seem to keep defaulting to choice number 2, which isn't good. Now, we got something else. Yesterday was election day, but last night, here we go again, City of McComb. We'll talk about the shooting right after this on SuperTalk, Mississippi, Pike County 93.5. Keep it here.
Every now and then, we remind all of you loving, awesome, hardworking husbands that you have a premium it's time to renew. No, it's not life insurance, car insurance, or health insurance. It's way more important than those. I'm Kristen. Gentlemen, it's time to renew those long-term wife insurance policies. When you surprise her with a gift from Selman's, you remind her that no matter what lies ahead, you and she will get through it together. Your gift tells her this long-term wife insurance policy is for life. Renew your long-term wife insurance policy right here at Selman's. We're in it for the long term with you.
Don't escape in the morning. Even when you miss it the first time, you can catch it on the podcast. Missing out would be a crime. Super Talk 93.5 is always the place to be. Want to get the podcast version? Here, my friend, is the key. SuperTalkPikeCounty.com. It's all around, it's all the rage. Spotify, Amazon, or Apple, or just right there on the page. Dave in the morning, late at night, or anytime you have the crave. SuperTalkPikeCounty.com.
Weekday mornings at 6 after 9 on 93.5 FM, or you can catch up anytime by going to
SuperTalkPikeCounty.com.
Dave in the morning at SuperTalkPikeCounty.com. Catch up and catch on.
Overnight is my world, city lights, painted girls. In the day, nothing matters. It's the night, time that matters. In the night, no control. Through the wall, something breaking. Wearing white as you're walking down the street of my soul. You take my self-control. You got me living
Seemed like a good time to use that as a bumper. An ode to what we're missing in McComb and Pike County, it seems. They have updated the forecast, by the way, and we are now in the danger zone for the possibility of tornadoes. It's a small possibility. It's not like this is going to happen. But there is a chance. So if the storms, and it looks like some storms will be popping up, there is a chance a tornado could spin out of those. Say all that to say this: stay weather aware today and tomorrow and Friday. Saturday's not looking that hot. Sunday could be messy. You get the point. Just stay weather aware for the next week or so, and we'll be fine. Main risk is today, though. Last night had another shooting in the city of McComb, this time in White Acres. White Acres, in case you're not familiar enough with it, White Acres is over next to the police department in McComb. It's the neighborhood, the area right around the police department. So literally in the front yard of the police department, well, we had a lot of stuff going on yesterday. We had fist fights over in, several different spots, actually. But we had fist fights yesterday. We had a shooting last night in White Acres. We still don't know any details on that. Don't know why it happened. Don't know who got shot. Don't know who did the shooting. Don't know the condition of the person that got shot. We just know that on Election Day, somebody decided it was a great day to punctuate the crime problem we have in McComb. Thought that was interesting timing. And you have to wonder, my brain works this way, you have to wonder if it was a political argument that led to it. I doubt it. It's usually something much more mundane than that. that leads to these kind of things or gang activity or whatever. I doubt it. But that was where my mind first went when I heard this news. I was like, were they arguing over one of the races? Select person at large, mayor, their ward select. It could have been anything. But it's a moot point. It doesn't matter. That's the kind of thing my mind turns to and starts to speculate on when it doesn't want to deal with the reality of what we have in front of us, which is another person got shot last night in McComb. I saw reports of the 17 shots fired. May or may not be accurate. But we have talked so much, you and I, about the crime problem in McComb. About what we have, about what we're dealing with. It's not getting better. Don't know if you picked up on that. It's not getting better at all. It is going to take approaching it in a different way. It's going to take a different path forward because, well, scream and lock them up is not doing anything. For whatever reason, you say that, I've said that, and immediately gotten blowback in a lot of different ways about, yeah, we're locking them up, but it's the judge's fault, or it's the prosecutor's fault, or it's this or that, or no. That's all included in what I'm saying when I say we need to figure out a different path forward. Not sure what the solution is, but I do know this. If we just sit around twirling our hair in our fingers and saying over and over, well, we got to do something, and never actually try something new, do something a different way, it's not going to change. I mean, come on. I've used it before, so I'm sure you've heard the old quote. It's a great quote. Said, the height of insanity is doing the same thing in the same way over and over, expecting a different result each time. We have to change what we're doing, or this will not stop. The Monty Python clip. The beatings will continue until morale improves. We have to change the way we're approaching all of this. And I still say a big part of it is we got to address the actual problems. Lock them up is what you do after someone's been shot. That's what you scream for that. Let's figure out what to do to keep as many people from being shot to begin with. Let's attack that end of the problem. The problem is there's big competition. People trying to sell the idea of doing things the right way, contributing to society, being able to hold your head up, poke your chest out, look in that mirror and go, hi there, how you doing? Looking good today. With a sense of self-pride. And on the other hand, you've got the gang members, you've got the criminal element who are going after these kids and recruiting them and saying, hey, you come on in with us, you're going to have your head held high and your chest poked out, and you'll be able to look in the mirror and say, hey, how you doing? Looking good. Plus, you'll have a lot of money. Now, which side in that argument do you think is going to win? You cannot appeal to the better nature of people whose natures haven't fully formed yet. So all the highfalutin, ideas that we have that are continually floated around about how we can turn this around, it takes constant, continuous work to form a child into an adult. And if the family isn't going to do it, there's a group out there somewhere that will be glad to take that duty off of your hands. Now, they're going to wind up in jail or dead. But hey, at least you weren't bothered, right? That seems to be the approach. And that's not really fair. Let me just say, that's not a fair comment for me to make, because there are plenty of people that want things to be different. They want things to work. They want to be able to raise their kids and raise them up right. And as soon as Daddy gets back from going to get that pack of cigarettes he left for 3 years ago, I'm sure things are going to straighten right out, right? We have a high instance of fatherless homes in America in general. That's part of the problem. I was talking about this with my wife the other day. It came up with, of all things, our pets. She'll fuss and she'll yell and she'll get on to them for doing something, and they're just running around wagging their tails, having a wonderful time, and I'll walk in the room and I go, "Stop it now." And all of a sudden everybody gets real still, and she's like, "How does that work?" As I had this conversation with someone else, we got into this topic. There's a certain tone of voice. You got to have the dad voice. You got to have that impact. When a child is growing up, mama, you love her, you need her. Daddy, you respect and probably are a little bit scared of. And the two working together can turn out a decent human being. You take one of those out of the equation, and things go south. We have to attack that end of the problem. Oh, you're really not going to like any of my suggestions for how to deal with it, but we have to deal with that end of the problem, because once they've already shot someone or been busted selling drugs or any other illegal activities, it's too late. We talk all the time about rehabilitation. How about we take a shot at some prehabilitation activities and keep the crime from happening to begin with? Now, yes, there is a certain amount of deterrent value in making sure everybody gets arrested and gets punished properly, and they get, see, that's what happens to you when you do these kind of things. The problem with that is there's also, there are those groups who are standing right there to explain and say, "Oh, no, it's not that bad. It'll be fine. I got your back. I'll look out for you. I'll take care of you. Don't worry. If things get rough, I'll be right there with you. Other than that, I'm going to show you how to be a man." Now, was that said by a gang leader or a daddy? Because functionally, they're kind of filling the same role. We have to attack the other end of the problem. We have to do something about that other end of the problem. Across the board, this is America as it exists now. And I'm sorry, someone has a bullet in their body this morning that didn't at this time yesterday, because we're not approaching this from the right direction and we're not trying to solve the correct problem. That is an issue to me. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Just about everybody you meet with a badge, really is going to have the same exact attitude. I know this, and that is they want no one ever to get shot, ever. They don't want fights breaking out. They want to live up to the old stereotype and go get a cup of coffee and a donut and sit around and shoot the bull. It'd be great. It'd be fantastic. They don't like all of this nonsense. But they are reactive. Law enforcement shows up when bad things happen. That's their job. After bad things happen, they show up. Every once in a while, they'll get lucky and they'll be in the right place at the right time, and they can get in the way of a bad thing happening. But that's not the norm. That's the direction we need to turn our brains toward if we're going to get a handle on this. Because another shooting, can't wait to see the crime stats for April. I mean, we're in May now. Last night doesn't count for April even. Last stats we got were for March. I don't know how long it takes to get the numbers to where they look acceptable, but we will get a report for April, I assume, unless somebody at City Hall said, don't do that again. Don't put that out. Because the March numbers stank. If you remember, 553.8% increase in shots fired from February to March. What you think that number is going to do moving forward as we get into the summer? Let's have the conversations we don't want to have, but have to keep everyone alive. I think that's a decent reason. I don't see any problem with that. But no, there are certain ways to do things. Well, those ways have been used, and look at where we're at. I want no one to get shot. I want no one to get hurt. I certainly want absolutely no one to die. I am so far not getting my wish. As a matter of fact, last time I tried to call the genie to see how we were coming on that wish, he didn't even answer. So, my hopes are fading. Let's start asking the right questions. Let's start dealing with the correct problems. And before you know it, the rest of the state will go, wow, how did they do that? Step one, though, have the conversation that makes you uncomfortable. Have the conversation that you don't want to have. Have the presence of mind and the civic mindedness to deal with the things we have to deal with, or accept the way they are. That's the only two choices. Taking a break. When we come back, a quick message about shopping with apps. We'll talk about that next.
'Cause it's about to get heavy. It's about to be hard. It's ringing napalm. So nobody move. 'Cause I was sent to warn you. The devil's in the next room.
Every now and then, we remind all of you loving, awesome, hardworking husbands that you have a premium it's time to renew. No, it's not life insurance, car insurance, or health insurance. It's way more important than those. I'm Kristen. Gentlemen, it's time to renew those long-term wife insurance policies. When you surprise her with a gift from Selmans, you remind her that no matter what lies ahead, you and she will get through it together. Your gift tells her this long-term wife insurance policy is for life. Renew your long-term wife insurance policy right here at Selmans. We're in it for the long term with you.
Don't miss Dave in the morning. Even when you miss it the first time, you can catch it on the podcast. Missing out would be a crime. SuperTalk 93.5 is always the place to be. Wanna get the podcast version? Here, my friend, is the key. SuperTalkPikeCounty.com. It's all there and it's all the rage. Spotify, Amazon, or Apple, just right there on the page. Dave in the morning, late at night, or anytime you have the crave. SuperTalkPikeCounty.com.
Dave Hughes here. Remember, every weekday morning at 9:06, it's Dave in the Morning, where we solve the problems of the world, or at least complain about them really loudly and sarcastically. And if you miss out, you can catch up with the podcast version of Dave in the Morning at SuperTalkPikeCounty.com.
She came from somewhere back in the long ago. The sound of the moon don't see. that never really was. She had a place in his life.
Welcome back. SuperTalk, Mississippi, Pike County. We talk about scams on a regular basis. You know what helps? If you don't go insane and you forget the golden rule that if something sounds too good to be true, it is. You're part of the problem in general, and specifically with scamming. In case you didn't hear about what happened, it's an app called Upside. I'm not familiar with it. But as long as you had a dollar on a card or Cash App or whatever, this is the way I understand it anyway, then they would advance you up to $400. Somebody got the bright idea. They went down and absolutely destroyed the corner market in Magnolia. I mean, cleaned it out. Took everything out of there. Showing their receipts with pride on Facebook and Instagram. That, by the way, is an IQ test. If you're gonna do a scam, don't post photographic evidence that you did it. But they've got their receipt where they got, say, $397 worth of groceries, and they paid, $1. This was the greatest thing ever. Do you remember when the free money thing caught on about ATMs with certain banks, where you could go and you could withdraw a bunch of money, you could deposit a check, withdraw a bunch of money before the check hit, and then the check was no good, but you had the cash. So it was free money. Do you remember what happened to the people after they got that sorted out? Everybody who participated went to jail. Because that was kiting checks. That was check fraud. Well, guess what's going to happen to everybody who rushed over to Corner Market? Apparently they were there all night, from what I hear, because there were so many people in the store. When it was time to close, they locked the door to keep anybody else from coming in, and had to go ahead and wait on all of those people. Yeah, see, Chris remembers. See? He said, yep, page 97 in the third Uncle Dave notebook. Nothing is free. There ain't no such thing as a free lunch. When this gets sorted out, because the way Upside works, they did that night before last, yesterday morning, whenever, before Corner Market in Magnolia literally ran out of food, and they're going to have to bring a disaster recovery team in to make it livable again, probably. Okay, great. You spent your dollar. You got $400 worth of groceries. Oh, you're so smart. You're showing off that high IQ and how wise and savvy you are. And then you start getting calls from Upside. Hey, we're trying to collect that money that you spent last night, because we don't give away free money. We just advance it. And we noticed that the card that you used has been canceled. We're going to need that money. And you say, no, that's not the way you're not going to get me, and hang up a few times. And then a few days later, there's a knock on the door. Not a phone call this time, because they don't call when they're on their way to arrest you. They just show up. You're going to have a knock on the door. You're going to open it. It's going to be an officer there. He's going to have a warrant, and he's going to take you to jail, because that's fraud. You just committed fraud. Depending on where Upside is located, it could be interstate wire fraud, just plain old wire fraud, just boring, bland, vanilla fraud, but you committed fraud. And that $400 worth of groceries you were so swaggery about because you got it for $1. I'm so smart. Going to wind up costing you thousands of dollars and a few months out of your life. Why do people keep doing this? Like I said, the free money thing at the ATM, you write a check for whatever amount you want and you stick it in the ATM. I don't remember which bank it was now. There were people writing checks for $20,000, depositing it through the ATM, and then turning around and immediately withdrawing it in cash before the check had time to clear because they had a bug in their software and it was allowing people to do that. And they thought they were getting free money. It was called the free money hack. It's not a hack. It's theft. Same thing happened with this upside. And you may be sitting there thinking, oh, no, it doesn't work like that. It's not going to happen. You would be wrong. Now, the only thing I hope, the only thing that I can hope for in this situation, because we've already had a whole bunch of people prove their IQ level with this. We know right where they sit on the scale, on the bell curve. They're not in the curve part, put it like that. So now Upside's going to try to get this money. They can't get it. I only hope somebody is going to have been taken for a lot of money, either Upside or Corner Market. I hope it's Upside because they had a stupid policy. They had a stupid process that allowed this to happen. It's on them. Corner Market should not be the one that has to pay the price for this. But it could be that they don't get any of the money for any of that. If that works out that way, and we wind up with Corner Market and Magnolia closing because they had an enormous loss, then we're going to hear about Magnolia being a food desert and you're not putting grocery store. We need a grocery store in our area. Well, don't be an idiot and you get to keep a very nice grocery store. That's a scam. A whole bunch of people are going to get to talk to a judge about it. Because again, remember the free money hack? I think it was last summer, wasn't it? It was last year sometime. The free money hack. Everybody went to jail. Everybody got arrested. Everybody. I don't remember the exact amount for this kind of thing. I think these would all be misdemeanors. I think it's 700 and above is a felony. But if you went through the line twice at $400 a pop, you could be visiting your buddy Mr. Parchman for a while. When I talk about we have to fight against scams and we have to not fall for scams, the other thing we need to do is stop participating in them. No one was forced at gunpoint to go get a bunch of groceries and think they're slick by getting them for $1. No, the word spread like wildfire. And everybody rushed over there, and everybody took advantage of it. They also did the same thing at the grocery depot over in Pike Center Mart. Same exact thing. The same process, same everything. People went over there. I don't know why you need $400 of meat right now. When's the cookout? It's going to be a big one. But they went and cleaned everything out. Cleaned it out there too. If you go to a grocery store today or anytime probably the rest of this week, and they have a sign that says something to the effect of cash only, thank the future felons who robbed 2 grocery stores using an app, giggling, going, man, this is great. Yeah. By the time you get out, some of that may have gone bad, so I would start eating now.
If you cry out for more,
Stop falling for this nonsense. If something sounds too good to be true, it is. There ain't no such thing as a free lunch. Final break. Let's get out of here after this.
Let me take a step towards you. Let me feel you in my hands. Let me cross this line and show you where it leads.
Every now and then, we remind all of you loving, awesome, hardworking husbands that you have a premium it's time to renew. No, it's not life insurance, car insurance, or health insurance. It's way more important than those. I'm Kristen. Gentlemen, it's time to renew those long-term wife insurance policies. When you surprise her with a gift from Selmans, you remind her that no matter what lies ahead, you and she will get through it together. Your gift tells her this long-term wife insurance policy is for life. Renew your long-term wife insurance policy right here at Selmans. We're in it for the long term with you.
Don't miss Dave in the morning, even when you miss it first time. You can catch it on the podcast. Missing out would be a crime. SuperTalk 93.5 is always the place to be. Wanna get the podcast version? Here, my friend, is the key. SuperTalkPikeCounty.com. It's all there and it's all the rage. Spotify, Amazon, or Apple, or just right there on the page. Dave in the morning, late at night, or anytime you have the break. SuperTalkPikeCounty.com. It's all there and it's all the rage. Spotify, Amazon, or Apple, or just right there on the page.
Closing time. Open all the doors and let you out into the world.
Yep, used up our time for today. So to recap, weather could get bad. We've got a chance for that today and tomorrow, so be weather aware. Keep paying attention to what's going on up in the sky above you, and specifically what might be coming out of the sky towards you. We have a runoff for mayor between Lockley and Mullins in 2 weeks. I would suggest, I don't know, arm wrestling match if there's a tie. So we can come up with something. It'll be fun. We might have to use that for select person at large because we're still waiting on the affidavit ballots to know about that one. Another person was shot in McComb last night, this one in White Acres, and people basically cleaned out 2 grocery stores in Pike County because they thought they were much, much smarter than they were. This has been a heck of a show. I want to desperately hunt for things to talk about. I don't like having the whole show laid out for me. But we'll see. Maybe tomorrow I'll get lucky, right? Talk about Star Wars or something. No. Have a wonderful day. We'll do this again tomorrow morning at 9:06. My friend, I'll see you then.
A SuperTalk Mississippi media production.